What's going on, people? I've heard women say that there's a competition for men out here. And because of that, some of them feel that they have to go above and beyond traditional efforts in order to attract men. Now, me personally, I don't get it. The wigs, the extreme eyelashes, fake body parts. I mean, I think some women do way too much just for attention. But, I'm a straight man. I'm not supposed to understand, how women think and what makes them do what they do. A woman is to be loved and not understood, right? So I figured that it was time for another chapter in the What Women Think series in order to get some answers.
P2Q Radio.
We'll see what points are being made without the other gender being present. The goal is to get a clear understanding on how each other thinks.
Because a lot of the stuff that they were saying is stuff that people think but don't say.
I felt like it was some stuff that I learned, and it was also some stuff that I was able to share that I have done.
Men put women into categories. She's the wife, she's the girlfriend, she's the lover, whatever. And he's doing that by testing you to see how far he can go.
You don't have to be looking for your forever husband before you have even found yourself. Before you get to looking for him, look for you.
Thank you so much for creating this platform for us to be able to have a voice. So thank you.
All right. I want to welcome all of you to the What Women Think series here on the Talk to Q radio show. My name is Quincy, and this is my show. In order for men to truly understand where women are coming from, we have to ask the right questions and allow women to answer without being challenged by men. This is why I created this series, to give women a platform to speak their truths uninterrupted. And regardless of how men feel about it, what's being said needs to be evaluated and respected. I asked my guests to be extremely honest. It may even be harsh to some as far as some of their responses, but men need the truth. We can't learn and do better without women effectively communicating with us. And that's what will occur here today during this lunch hour live show. So joining me to discuss this will be two ladies from the Magnolia State of Mississippi. I want to welcome back Miss Ashley Dee to the Talk to Q radio show, the host of the Audaciously Me podcast. Ashley, how are you?
I'm great. How are you? I'm glad
I am outstanding. So glad to have you on.
Having me back.
And I have a newcomer making her first appearance in the T2Q universe. Also from the Magnolia State of Mississippi, please welcome Miss Dee Brown to the Talk to Q radio show. Dee, what's going on?
Hey, how are you?
Doing well. Glad to have you on. So we'll go ahead and get right to it. We see a lot of women spending money in order to achieve a certain look these days. I've heard quite a few ladies say that men only look at women that have a certain look. The curvaceous bodies, the extended eyelashes, the wigs, etc. So I want to start first on how guys look at women. And Ashley, I'll start with you. How do you feel when a guy looks at you and you can tell that he likes what he sees?
Well, like any normal woman, we like the attention. Some of us eat it up way too much. And sometimes I feel as though, okay, maybe I am attractive because I'm very hard on myself. And I'm like, okay. Somebody finds me attractive. Yay. Hi. I might speak, I might smile. But other than that, and of course, everybody knows I'm in a relationship. So it's like, I kind of just acknowledge it and keep going. I don't feed too much into it, but it feels good to get acknowledged by, another man sometimes. And it's like, okay, you are beautiful. Somebody finds you attractive, because so many times we as women can get caught up in what we see ourselves as. And somebody else probably doesn't see that. And they're like, well, I see a queen standing in front of me, somebody beautiful, somebody you know, outstanding, gorgeous, like drop dead gorgeous. And we're like, I don't see it because we're our worst critics.
Yeah,
We are the worst.
that's true. That's true. And Dee, what about you? How do you feel when a guy looks at you and you can tell that he likes what he sees? How do you take that?
Well, when I see a guy look at me, there's two reactions that I could have. The first reaction is it could be scary if he's looking lustfully.
A
He
little
wants
too
more.
hard.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, you can think that he wants more than what you're willing to give. That could be scary. And then there's the second part of it where you can be appreciative, um, where he's looking like what she said before. He's looking at you like you're a queen, and I can take a compliment from him, and he can go on and continue his day. Otherwise, I might be a little scared if it's more than that. But those are the two ways that I would feel, either scared or appreciative.
Okay, now let's focus on the scare part. At
Okay.
what point does it make you feel uncomfortable? At what point can it be too much?
It could be too much when he's looking up and down and all around, and you're wondering what is it that he's looking for that's not apparent from first glance, that he has to continue to look a little bit longer. Or, I mean, I've seen men run into walls. I've seen men, just go too far in trying to just look. And, a look can be can tell a lot. People say your eyes are the window to your soul, so you can actually see what a person is thinking sometimes. So I think that's when it's too far, when you are forgetting about what to focus on for that moment, which is not me. We have a
Hmm.
lot of things going on. If we're in the store, you have some things you're shopping for. Let's shop and continue on about your day. That could be scary. So
Okay. And Chrissy's chiming in from New York. She says, I was told to assume any male stranger that talks to you does it with the intentions other than a friendship. And yeah, I think that's a pretty
I
safe
can understand
assumption.
that.
Yeah. So, Ashley, is
Mhm.
all attention good attention?
No, not all attention. I don't feel like it is. Like I always tell people, especially other women that I talk to, skip a guy too. Every last one of them aren't out to be your friend, and they aren't out to, you know, benefit you in any good way. Like sometimes, like she said, you can tell your eyes are a window to your soul. And like I've had situations where guys will walk up to me and, at work at that, and they're like, hey, my name is so and so. What's your name? And I'm like, Ashley. And then as soon as I tell them my name, I can already tell what they're going to do next because they either look down at my thighs, or if I'm turning to the side, they look down at my assets. And
Yes,
I'm like,
yes.
oh, okay. And then that's at that point, I'm like, what can I help you with? That's when the attitude comes.
Right,
Okay,
right.
I get it. I get it. So let me ask you this, D. When a woman has a friend who goes the extra mile to seek the attention of men, whether it's
Okay.
something topical like, long eyelashes, or she spends a lot of money on hair or something, to something extreme like to go as far as getting implants. I mean, we've seen examples of some of those women being celebrated on social media. So
Right.
do women ever look at other women and look at their attire or whatever and say to those ladies, hey, I think you're doing a little too much?
I know I do it. I have done it. So most recently, and I think one of the biggest icons where we can actually see that happening is in the hip hop world. You see women go what you would consider the extra mile. We just saw a picture come out last week with Keisha Kaur in a totally sheer dress, and she's with her husband, and I'm watching the pictures, and nobody's looking at him, everybody's looking at her. And I wonder what was her motivation behind trying to be completely nude in public. So that type of thing, you just wonder if that's something that someone urged her to do. Was that her own thoughts?
Hmm.
What is going on behind her psyche that makes her think that she has to show everything in order to feel good or in order to go out and enjoy herself. Why do you have to see boobs? So
Mhm.
that is something that I try to understand the background, because some women that wear a lot of makeup could have medical issues. Some women that wear a lot of makeup could have insecurities. Some women that wear
Mhm.
a lot of makeup could be very confident and very just like the look of makeup and like changing up, just like you change your hair. They could like that. So you really have to know the person before you can really say, oh, they're doing it for attention, because sometimes it's not that.
Okay, interesting. And what do you think, Ashley? Do you think that women maybe tell other women now and then, "Hey, I think you're doing a little bit too much"?
Um, Honestly, I try to stay away from really just telling people I think you're doing a little bit too much, because like she said, it could be a very confident woman that just wants to show off her body, or enhance her facial looks. Like me, for one, I just like makeup. I don't wear it on a daily basis, but when I do, like, I like it. Sometimes I overdo it, sometimes I don't. And it's just like, a lot of women, whenever they are probably seeking a common, like a goal to reach, or like most people do it just to get a lot of likes somewhere on social media. So of course they're going to show a little cleavage, turn around and show their butts and everything else. So it's like they're going to do what men are going to gravitate to.
Okay. All right. And we'll get to the men in just a second. But I've seen animosity towards women who exploit their curves from women who aren't as maybe aren't as curvy, or maybe they're just not as revealing. They're more conservative with their look or something. So, D, can women who don't have the curves, or maybe choose not to flaunt the curves, feel as if they can't compete with the women who do?
It can feel that way. It can feel that way. I've had the curves. I've not had the curves. I've been on both sides of the spectrum before, and you do get different reactions from men. It's very different. And when you look at the quality of the guys that you attract with curves versus the quality of guys that you attract without curves, it can make you feel like you may be missing out. And I believe that when you feel that way, you have to really search within yourself to see what is it that makes me feel like I need that type of guy that enjoys this type of a woman. So the competition does exist. I hate that it does, but it does exist, and I wish every woman could feel that they don't have to go out and get that BBL or the boob jobs, but you do notice that these women, they're getting the money, they're getting the attention, they're getting the fame, they're getting all the likes on social media. So it could be competitive, and you don't want to get looked over because this figure eight walks into the room. So
Yeah. Okay. You said BBL. That's what, Brazilian butt lift?
that's Brazilian butt lift. Yes.
Okay. I want to be sure. I want to be sure. And so, Ashley, how does it make women who choose not to do these extra things feel to not get equal attention from those guys? I mean, you can speak on it as far as women in general, or from a personal standpoint if you want.
Well, I'll take the personal standpoint. Like, I'm not going to say I'm not choosing to do it. I have thought about it. But it's like, you see, well, I was telling you like some of the stuff that you were asking. I had a conversation with Kevin about it, and he's like, "You're fine. You look good." And I'm like, "I don't feel good," because like Dee said, she's been on the curvy side and the non-curvy side, and so have I. And like on the curvy side, I'm not going to lie, that's when I got the most attention from anybody, even women at that, you know. And it's like now that I'm not so curvy, I let myself get out of shape a little bit. It's like I don't feel as confident as I should, even though I don't think there's anything wrong with me, but I don't feel as confident because now I'm going from look at her, she fine, she this, she that, which I still get that from time to time, but it's like it feels different now. It feels way different. I don't really know
Okay.
how to explain it, but it's a difference.
And Dee, what about you? How would you explain that from maybe a personal standpoint or from just women in general, how it feels as far as not getting the equal attention that some women who go above and beyond may get?
Well, I'll say some of the things that I've experienced now. I have slimmed down quite a bit, and I've had the guys that were more attracted to the curvier me. You know, they'll turn their nose up and say, "Oh, you're losing too much weight," or "Don't lose your butt." And you know, you get those type of comments. And I would actually say when I have had less of a curve, the guys that I attract are more respectful. Even
Hmm.
though it may not be as much attention, there is more of a focus on who is the without the curves. You know, they want to see who I am as a person instead of um, hey, let's see what she can do on the dance floor or something like that. So that's definitely one thing that I'm glad that I was able to appreciate. I went to the store once and I had cut all my hair off and I was feeling a bit insecure. And a guy walked up and he said, "What are you getting?" And I told him what I was buying and he bought it and he walked out. That was the first time that ever happened. And I
Wow.
felt great about it because normally it would be, "Hey, what are you getting? Can I have your number? What's your name? What's this?" You know, and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
wanted attention. So I think I've had some great experiences not being so curvy or being more natural, and that's been a blessing because some women don't get that. Some women get the more favorable attention doing the most. So
I get you. All right. Amy in Arkansas chimed in and she says, "What saddens me and frustrates me is trying to compete and measure up to a false reality like Kylie Jenner, makeup, cosmetic surgery, and Photoshop." All right. So, yeah. So, not only do some women, I guess, feel like they're competing, I guess you feel like the other ones may be using a cheat code, so to speak. So, I get that. I get that.
yeah.
So, D,
Mhm.
you once said, a matter of fact, you said this on Instagram, that if enough men said, "Hey, fellas, natural bodies are hot," um, quote unquote, or "My wife's everyday look with no makeup is beautiful," end quote. You said if more men did that, it would encourage more women to not overly enhance themselves. Can you tell the people what you meant by that?
Sure. So I really like that you provide a safe space for women to have a discussion with you and with your audience about how we feel about our bodies and about how we look. But I do believe it is a discussion men need to have with men about promoting the right things within their group and making sure that they tell each other, "Hey, that's not cool for you to objectify her body that way," or "Hey, a woman with clothes on looks good," or "I don't have to turn my head just because her butt jiggles." And that's one thing I say. Zendaya, I don't know how to pronounce her name. I mentioned
Mhm.
her, how she's a slimmer actress, but she's sexy with it, and she's not always trying to show her body all the time. She's fully dressed most of the time that I see her, and so we don't see men saying, "Hey, this is what's cute," or "This is what's nice." All the likes and the millions of likes are on your Cardi B's and your Keisha Kaur's and your Nicki Minaj's. So I think if men would say, "Hey, this is what's attractive. If you want to make a woman conform to the look that you like, you gotta promote it, and that's the same thing men tell us all the time. If we want a man that is of a certain quality, we have to promote that quality that we like.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right. It makes a lot of sense. I get that. Totally get that. I appreciate you explaining it. And Ashley, you said, you once said the same thing. Well, actually, I'm sorry. You said the same thing that men complain about, we actually praise. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, I can use a real life situation. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind, but my current boyfriend or whatever, I
Or
use his
whatever.
laptop or whatever. I want to, I say whatever because, sometimes I feel like if I say man, I'm being overly possessive, but of course that's my
I'm
man.
sorry. I don't want to get you in trouble. I didn't mean to get you in
no,
trouble.
Right. That's your thing.
You're fine. But he whenever we sat down and we talked, I'm like, I got to lose this weight. I got to lose this weight. And I would always complain about my stomach being in the mirror. I'm like, oh, this is bad because I don't have hips. And he's like, I wish you would stop complaining. So I use his computer a lot. One, his camera is a lot better than mine is. Two, his computer is more updated than mine is. Like I'm on it now. And it's like he has his messenger on his computer. And whenever I'm on it, stuff pops up. And I guess he forgot. They were sharing half naked pictures of women that were gaming. And these were thick women dressed in lingerie gaming and everything. And I'm like, you tell me I'm fine, but this is what you're praising. Like, this is what you share to your friends. This is what y'all talk about. Not how good my woman is or not how good my woman looks. Like, these are the women that you share. And I post on social media all the time. And I get more reactions from other men than my own. I said, so what is it that you want? I said, I understand. She looks nice. Her body looks nice. It does. I don't have that. And it's like, I don't wish to just look like her, but I would like to look better for myself. And I would like to feel confident that my man feels like I look good, good enough to post or share. Like, I'm not big on social media and relationships posting and stuff like that, but I want to feel good about us.
I get it. And I guess the best way that I can look at it as far as trying to put it into an analogy, and a lot of times people get offended by analogies because you're comparing real people to sometimes inanimate objects. But I look at it, whether it's men or women, I look at it as like when a person sees a really nice Mercedes, okay, you may do a double take, you may turn your head, you may stare at it, but you know that it comes with a lot of maintenance. It can come with a high cost. It attracts attention, maybe for the wrong reasons, because people want to steal it. So what do you take home? You go home to your garage and you got a Toyota Camry or a Nissan Altima, something that looks good, but it's something that's, well, I hate to use the word practical, but you get what I'm trying to say. And I think that's what some people get caught up in. It's like, okay, yeah, that Mercedes is going to get a lot of attention, but do you want that type of attention, or can you afford the maintenance on it? If so, by all means, get one. But I think the average person really wants something that kind of fits their lifestyle, So people are going to look at the Cardi B's and the Megan Thee Stallions and people like that, the real curvaceous type of women. But as far as, if they could have one, I don't know if the average guy can handle one, because there's a lot that comes with that. So I think it kind of depends. That's how I kind of look at it.
It is go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. Make your point.
I understand everything you're saying. I didn't have a problem with it until I see there's conversations that could be had between y'all. Y'all are on these people's streams. Y'all are talking to them. And then one of them happens to be one of the women that were being shared happens to be my cousin's sister. And I was like, and it was shared by him.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. She's very curvy. She looks nice. I'm not going to lie. But you passed all those pictures of her face and sent this, and y'all aren't even friends on Facebook. you know?
Yeah. Well, it's a little different. It's one thing when it's a celebrity, but when it's somebody down the street, that's a little different.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I definitely, want women to have more confidence in themselves. And if there's something that I can do as a man to help make things better, then that's something I have to work on, which is why I wanted to kind of have this, and because I'm learning too. So we'll wrap things up with this. Like, how should young boys be conditioned when it comes to them appreciating good looking women, without drawing conclusions of what kind of woman she may or may not be? But what should we as men be teaching young fellas? And Dee, I'll start with you.
Well, I think that's a hard question for me because I don't have kids. But if I did have a son, I think the best way to teach a man or condition a young boy to actually on how to treat a woman is really to show him how he should respect himself. And that's a lot of, I believe in a structured type of relationship, and I do believe in the traditional roles of a man and woman in a relationship. So man does outside work. So you teach your son about mowing grass. You teach your son about getting an education. You teach your son those things. And I even think that with women, I always say when we teach our kids how to be themselves, we should not teach them how to be themselves in relation to the opposite sex. And I can go to a long story about that. But I believe that you should just be who you are first and teach him, hey, you want to be a respectable person just to people in general, be a respectable person to women in general. You see a woman, hold the door open because that's who you are. It's not dependent on because she is beautiful or because she's old, or it's because that's what you do and who you are. And so I think that's what we should teach our young guys, just how to be respectable in themselves and not really as a husband figure. It'll come, that part comes later in life. You teach them how to be husbands, but they need to know how to be themselves, because I wouldn't do that to my young girls. I would not tell them, hey, make sure you go learn how to wash dishes because you're going to have a husband one day, because I don't believe in that. I believe wash dishes because you want to be clean. So, and
Makes sense.
if you decide to be in a relationship, you can, but I don't believe that you have to be in one. So,
Okay. All right, that makes a lot of sense, because if she doesn't have a husband, those dishes gonna pile up
right.
if she believes she has to have a husband to wash dishes. So I get that. And so, Ashley, as someone who has daughters, what do you teach them as far as being objectified and how they should respond to it?
Well, first off, I I try to teach them to be, happy with themselves. Like Bella, that's my oldest. She's 11, so she's starting to grow boobs now, and she does not like it. And, I'm like, it's a thing that young ladies go through. I said it's not all bad. So now she's learning to love herself and the changes that she's going through a little bit more. Like she'll point out something and she's like, "Hey, mom, look, you have that too. So that means I'm gonna get it." I'm like, "Yeah, yay!" I try to make her happy about it because she is going through a big change, especially being 11. So she's gonna do a 360 here in a minute, and I don't know if I'm ready for it. And it's like, in order for her to, well, for me to raise them to be confident and to love themselves, I do that so that when they go out into the world and a guy finds them unattractive, it won't hurt them. I try my best to let them know that you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Right.
Just as long as you love yourself, the love from others will come as it needs to. Like everybody is not going to love you, of course. I keep saying it over and over. And I try to tell their dad, hey, let's start doing this with the girls. He makes sure he gets them and he treats them the way, a man should. That way they're not out here like, well, my dad used to do this, so I'm gonna go that way because that's what I did. My dad was a drunk. He was abusive. So what did I do? I went and looked for guys that were drunks and abusive. So it's like co-parenting and having that conversation with their dad, because I feel like he is going to be the determining factor of how they handle situations as they get older with other men.
Okay.
Like, I can tell him all day, but I feel like he's going to be the determining factor of how they go about choosing to date other men.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies, I appreciate you taking the time in the middle of your day to come on and lay things out for the fellas out here. I've learned a lot, because like I said, on the surface, I never really understood the competition, but now I kind of get some of the things that you all are saying. Before we wrap things up, I want to take a quick break, 30 seconds, and then we'll come back with final thoughts on today's What Women Thinks series. So back in about 30 seconds.
Do you love movies? Then subscribe to the Movie Buffer YouTube channel to get honest and insightful movie reviews along with interesting facts about the films. Join this interactive community where comments are welcome. Reviews on current, classic, and hidden gems are posted weekly. See you on the Movie Buffer.
All right, we'll get ready to wrap things up. And Ashley, can you tell everyone about Audaciously Me and where they can find you, and give your final thoughts on the show today?
All right, Audaciously Me, of course, is my podcast. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, Anchor, iHeart, Pandora. What else is it? It's a lot, but just follow my Instagram. The link is there, or you can look on my Facebook bio. The link is there for every location that you can find it on. Today's episode was a good one. Like, I have a different way of looking at some things now from listening to Dee and some things that she said. I feel like this is something, that's really good that a lot of men should definitely check out. It'll change a lot, especially dealing with relationships that are, either struggling, or relationships that people may have insecurities. Because I've learned that most men only do certain things because they're insecure about something, or something has happened to them and they want to get ahead of it, instead of just trying to trust and be all in at the beginning. So, live in your reality. Like you said, if you can afford that Mercedes, go get it. If you can't, do what your pockets can do.
There's nothing wrong with a Toyota Camry, I'm trying to tell you.
Mm-mm. They look real nice.
They do. All right. Well, thank you for your time. And Dee, please give your final thoughts, and
Okay.
let the people know where you can be found.
Okay, well, I am Dee Brown. You can contact me if you would like to contact me at Q1 Kool-Aid. I am a feminist activist. I am also in IT. So that's what I'd like to talk about, those things in particular. So if you are looking for me, I'm on Instagram at Q1 Kool-Aid. I'm everywhere else at Q1 Kool-Aid. Anywhere you can put a @ or a username, I'm Q1 Kool-Aid. So that's where you can find me, and I look forward to having many discussions with men, women, anybody that can talk. I like to promote men's self-awareness along with women's self-awareness, and also making sure everyone has that safe space. So thank you, Q, for having me, and thank you for allowing this discussion.
All right. And I definitely appreciate all of you. And I appreciate you speaking your truths. And I hope that some people benefited from hearing it. And this is something I would definitely promote to the men as well. So thank you for that. You can hang backstage with me for a minute while I wrap things up. I want to thank my guests, Dee Brown and Ashley D. And those of you out there watching on Facebook or YouTube, or maybe you're listening to the audio on your favorite podcasting app, I thank you very much. Follow me on Instagram at Talk to Q, and stay tuned for more of the What Women Think series, as well as look forward to an upcoming What Men Think series, where I'll bring some guys on and we'll talk about the same topic, essentially. I'll probably even ask some of the same questions. So we'll get things from the men's perspective, and see how that goes. So I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your day. You've been listening to the Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinion. See you next time.